deleted the whole thing. Let me go fix that. I've almost got it. Lives. Oh, I accidentally wrote his best comics I haven't heard of. Whoops. Try that again. I knew I said something wrong. Hey, my man, how's it going? I saw your messages. I have not looked at them yet. Hey, Aaron, I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there. Found out yesterday that apparently my biggest card that I've been relying on to live just shut me off. So that's not fun. And I have not been able to find anyone that can co-sign a loan with me, which has also been another bummer. But I'm hoping to get something going again soon. I don't know. I'm just fucking trying anything. Yeah, I miss having you around too, Aaron. You're always welcome. I know you got you're busy. You got stuff during the day, like a normal person. So you gotta get up early and shit. And what else? Nerdy stuff. There we go. Just gotta do things. Why is my Discord bleeping? Nothing that seems to involve me. There we go. Now we're gonna get the linky link into the Discordy thingy. And hopefully people actually come on tonight. It's been a quiet couple nights. I think yesterday it was mostly just me and Allie. No, Drew's over there too. We ended up talking about lizard people. And then it kind of turned into a bit of a debate. And then eventually I think I'd been watching the protest in LA on the YouTube Live. Oh, is there a protest going on right now? I'm not aware of current protests. Just that they are still happening, which is very good. I don't know. I guess I'll look it up now that we're talking about it. My fault was me. What do you mean? In LA? What did you do? Protests in LA today. Oh, it's about ICE. Okay. Yeah, they deserve it. Dozens detained in LA ICE raid, sparking protests and outrage. Damn. We are in a very particular time in this country. What's going on now? God damn. There's a live one here. Let me see. Okay, this obviously isn't live because it's in the daytime. Okay, never mind. Oh boy. I mean, the reality is if we're going to have any chance of stopping all this stuff, consistent protests are going to be a necessity. So far, despite all the scare tactics and everything, it feels like everything it's been trying to do has been quickly falling apart. And that gives me hope. That whatever this shit show is, it'll be over sooner rather than later, but who knows? That depends if Democrats ever grow up hairballs. Which one would we call it that, by the way? Because balls are pretty weak. Anyway. But anyway, how you all doing today? I will say this, lady, like, finances are still really on the edge, but it does look like the channel itself is doing pretty well the last week or so. A couple videos went viral. We have gotten about, I think, like 400 subscribers in the last 4 days. Tired? I feel that, financial crisis. I feel that. What about you? And how you been for real? Surviving is the simple answer for it. Like some stuff is resolved, some stuff's going to be resolved. Hopefully tomorrow. The big one is just money, and the money is just I don't have it. and the credit card I relied on the most, they just cut me off. So now that's maxed out. I'm doing good. Just smoke some weed. Yeah, I'm an edible right now, so I'm right there with you, Aaron. So that means I just have a lot of debt, and I don't make enough to get the loan I need to consolidate it. So I'm stuck paying like over $1,000 just in credit card fees. Shit, how's that, boys? Tonight, smoke fat. That's fun. That's a fun camaraderie. I didn't discover weed until much later, much later than a lot of people did. Like I didn't really try it until my mid-20s. Oh, how quickly things change. I think I always kind of prefer the hybrids. You know, like I like the what are the things like CBD and what's the other one? TMC, TLC. It's one of the. It's I know it's a TNC. I'm confused, but I'm gonna keep moving forward. I confuse myself very simply. Indica. Have I tried indica? I don't think I've tried indica. The edibles I usually go with are like a mixture of CBR, I think it is. Yeah, CBR and THC. That's what it was, THC. So like put those two together, that puts me in a good state. Then I feel a little trippy, and it also kind of relaxes your body a little bit. I was exposed to it young. First bowl was like early middle school. Yeah, I think it didn't help that I was homeschooled for most of my life, or at least most of my childhood. So I didn't really get exposed to the real world until I was like 15, going on 16. And I remember because that social judgment was rough that first year. I lost all my friends that year. I think all the friends I had to start completely from scratch for the first time. It would unfortunately not be the last, but I digress. That's when I learned how to be a loner. I usually get cherry gush and have really enjoyed some good edibles. Oh, there's a lot of good ones out there. I like wild, the wild gummies. Those usually have some good combinations that get me where I want to be. I can't say I've experimented that greatly with it. It's kind of like one of those things when I find a brand I like, I stick with it because I'm autistic and I don't like trying new things that I might spend money on and not like, which is why I can have the same meal some 8 times. I really am fucking autistic. I was always question one day if I was or not, but now I'm hearing it and it's like, okay, I should have picked this up sooner. But anyway, that's outside the point. Like I don't really smoke. I hate cottonmouth, and that to me is just like that coughing is not worth the high you get from it. I know it kicks in faster, but I can take 20 milligrams edible and I'll be good for the rest of the night. And yeah, which kind of plan your schedule around that, you get a lot of fun. One second thing is you can't drive, because there's some nights I would love a good In-N-Out burger, like fresh when you're high. I got to do that once and it was amazing. I don't know if you guys got In-N-Outs where you're from, but best burger in California. I had 300 milligrams the other night. That's a lot. Hey, Rise Block. I'm doing all right. Surviving. Stuff is stressful. Things continue to involve stress, but getting by as best I can. Trying to figure out a plan to get out of the hole I'm in. I have a lead that I'm hoping goes somewhere. So we're going to just follow that train. If that doesn't work out, I really don't know what I'm going to do. So we're going to hope for something soon, because otherwise I'm fucked. But yeah. Anyway. I know, right? Like, trust, like, I did smoking in front of a movie theater with one friend. I had an hamburger in the parking lot, and I remember taking a bite out of that just fresh soup. Like, it's got still a little juicy, still got that melted cheese that hasn't quite dried yet. And you take that first bite, and it's just like, that's that good shit. In the Midwest, we have a burger place called Culver's. It's my favorite. I don't think we don't have a Culver's over here. From arm surgery? Oh shit, what happened there? And are you okay? I know I got arm surgery a little while ago with a broken wrist. Probably not as severe as whatever you got going on, but that process was extremely painful. And I hope your version is going okay. I'm getting food after 6. Good. That's a spirit. Kind of makes me wish it was in walking distance. You just can walk down there without taking like 20, 30 minutes. Get us some In-N-Out burger, come back, you're still baked. That's where the good shit's at. Oh, man. Now I'm gonna make myself hungry. I miss those days. I'm sorry, I'm getting nostalgic. I'm thinking back when I used to do like the weekly movie reviews way back when I started that when I was 21, I think. And we're gonna bring it back in some capacity at some point, but I think oh, that's right, I did get your message. Let me take a look at it. Yeah, I do kind of miss those days of hold on, like of just it was mostly just a reason or excuse to. Long story short, I have fistula in my arm that needed repairing due to aneurysm. Ooh, Jesus, dude, I'm sorry, that sucks. Fuck. Okay, here we go. I see your pictures now. Okay. Like, what kind of camera are you using? It looks pretty old school. But yeah, I miss being able to just put up a notice like, hey, who wants to go watch a movie? And then you get to kind of circulate the friends you hang out with. It was a very convenient and useful tool for making friends, basically, and maintaining friendships, because as a kid, I really did not... I was not good at socializing or initiating, and I'm still not. So it was just very good reason to basically say, hey, I want to hang out, without having to explicitly say that. I don't know, because it makes you feel vulnerable. Always me up to rejection, so the part of me just fears actually initiating that, because I might get turned down, and it's not like the worst day ever, but I'm like, disappointing. Yeah, it's that TRV65 I mentioned. Oh, okay, so we're going with old school quality then. Yeah. Good. You missed the time when all your friends were close. There's a lot of people I haven't talked to in quite a few years. And I know I should reach out to, but it's interesting to think about because I'm not very good at reaching out to people. And a lot of people I know aren't good at reaching out either. So we're just kind of left in a limbo where nobody does anything. And next thing you know, everyone moves on. Everyone just not disappears, but just like moves on with their lives, and that makes them more distant. Did you ever play Red Dead Nightmare? Oh yeah, I played all of Red Dead. All right, yep. Go and show me the clip. I'm curious. Reaching out is always hard. Maintaining adult friendships is hard when you don't have the convenience of college, where all of you are going to the same place, so it's easier just to connect and be there. It's a lot harder when you all graduate, you all move on with your lives. Some people get married, have kids, they move away, or go back to college in a different state, or all these kind of things. And it's just like, as much as it kind of stings, your circle just kind of gets smaller and smaller as you get older. Not for everyone, mind you. I'm sure some people are much better than I am. Not really, I miss everyone. I've been getting more lonely and lonely. Circle smaller. Yeah. And it's not necessarily bad, because the ones who stay, those who stick with you for the bad shit, those are the good friends. And you're only gonna get a few in your lifetime. So when you find them, you gotta hold on to it as best you can and don't fuck it up. I wish they did Red Dead Nightmare for Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. Maybe it was just too big to do that, because it is a pretty much bigger than the first Red Dead is. So maybe there was some reservation about doing that. I don't know. But yeah, it would have been cool. Yeah, they're the real ones. Yeah, exactly. Because I know some of my best friends are the most fucked up people I've ever known. But it's one of those rare cases where they've used that pain to make themselves kinder, which is a rare gift. And a lot of people don't make that choice. Yeah, they're usually going to be at most a handful of ride or die types. Yeah, and like I said, hang on to them. Hold on to the people you love as much as you can, but when they want to go, let them go. From all the friends I had during school, I'm talking hand with 2 of them now. Yeah, I think I'm down to about 3 I stay in regular contact with. No, 4. 4. Is it just 4? 4 primarily. Yeah, and I just lost one of my best ones not too long ago, so yeah, it's getting smaller. Shout out to my boy in the night shot pick that fine motherfucker legend gave him a present today too, bro. His reaction was goated. Oh, here it is. I see your clip. Okay, I like your angles and everything you're going for, but I do think you need a light source. That'd make it a lot more, like, a lot crisper. Like something that had like produce more cooler colors. I know there's probably some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of light you can clip on there. They can do more cool, like cool blue kind of colors. Decrease the reflection you get and allow you to get more like better shots that are clear. I like the setup. He's my brother's type. Nah, yeah, coming soon. Yeah, just, piece by piece, you kind of learn what you need as you do it. In fact, I gotta do another film shoot this weekend. I keep forgetting about it, and I should not forget about it because, yeah, that's my job. Or at least that's a job. It's a gig. Friend of mine I've been working with for years. Also has a YouTube channel. Who hires me to do cinematography work for some of his projects sometimes. Arid one might also get a little lens cover and some other shit. Ever showed you the actual rig? I don't think you have. So yeah, you're welcome to send that over to me if you want to take a look at it. What am I doing? What am I doing? I don't know. We're gonna play around with it. I don't know what I'm saying. I am very baked right now. Yeah, it's always interesting. It's very low budget. We kind of work with what we got, but we've done some cool like it's basically like cosplay fights, basically, but the cosplay's not super great. But I think like I've recorded most of the episodes. I do like most of those episodes. So it gives me like a little experience in like directing and working with technology and all that fun stuff. And a fairly easy way to earn $75. At this point, you got to pick up gigs wherever you can find them. A little splurt here, a little splurt there. Just hoping anything actually sticks and you start actually building your way up financially back in the world. It is not easy. And I'm not sure will ever be easy. Oh god, that sounds so good. I don't even like mushrooms very much. Like I'm kind of a recent convert to mushrooms. I didn't like mushrooms until my partner started making mushrooms, and I really like how she cooks them. So that was kind of like, okay, maybe I can tolerate this after all. Okay, here we go. Damn, you were not kidding about old school. God damn. I feel like I've seen one of these since the 90s. That's cool. That's pretty neat. I like that. That's actually pretty cool. Just got me really nostalgic for a second. Even though, like, cameras, I didn't have cameras this big. I was a child. But like that style of camera, when they all kind of had a general aesthetic. That was always kind of big and blocky. And now that I'm older and nostalgia is a thing I need to consider. Just they look so much more interesting now than I did when I was younger. Like, do you ever just sit back and like look at your life and realize just how much, just even technologically, has changed over the decades? Because like maybe like 20 years ago. Um, yeah, but like 20 years, like, or when I was like 9 or 10, like the internet was just starting and it was the dial-up shit. And I don't remember you guys were around for this. I think at least a couple of you guys were. But that was always like, it was the most obnoxious thing. Um, it worked like back when internet was used on a phone line and you had to keep off the internet if you wanted to use the phone because they both couldn't work at the same time. And now you see where it's at now. It's like that was a fucking joke. It evolved so quickly. Used to play Oregon Trail in grad school. Now, yeah, now you got like basically movie quality video games out there. Television, another one. We went from like the gigantic blocks. My dad had one of those too. Like not like the little box TVs, like but the gigantic room filling TVs. That was just like gigantic block with an entertainment system around it. That was a big ass TV we had for a good long while until you eventually get to plasma, and then like it was 3D TVs for a little bit, and then kind of what we got now, which is more like OLED. I think it's the common brand for picture quality and all that. And it's just like, God, you guys are experienced too. Those like who are younger than 30 are gonna like back in a few years and like just marvel at how much technology has changed in the short time you've been alive. Because I remember playing the original, it's like Super Mario Brothers on the NES. I was tweaking on a Wii. I remember the hype when I beat Super Mario Bros. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. I used to have a small black and white TV in my room when I was a kid. Yeah, you guys remember like those specialty TVs? Like there was a Shrek TV that back when they were still doing boxing, they could realistically do that. God, it's so weird. Happy Meal toys were a lot more interesting before laws and regulations kind of took away all the fun. Oh God, what else? Computers, laptops, all that stuff. It went from like having an entire room dedicated to the TV or the computer. Now it's just like I have a laptop on my lap and I'm streaming through my fucking phone. And I remember the first phone I have was a flip phone, and I got excited. I want a SpongeBob. Oh, there was a SpongeBob TV too. And what was I gonna say? Computers, yeah. But now it's like I'm streaming on my phone in at least fairly decent quality. And the phones on there. I remember I had the flip phone. I had the chocolate. If anyone remembers that brand, I think it was from Verizon. And texting, you had to press 3 buttons per letter, and it took forever. I remember when flat screen TVs came out and they were like $10,000. Yeah, because that was like the new rich person thing. And then whenever that technology kind of expands a bit more, then they invent a new ultra rich thing. That's something needlessly complicated. Or it's like 1GK or some bullshit. Miss my little fucking phone with a keyboard. It's light up, but I forget what they called it. Blackberries. You're thinking of Blackberries. I had one of those too. And I remember because I really resisted touchscreens for a while. I don't know why. My transition from technology to technology is always reluctant for some reason. Like, I don't need that shit. I got what I need right here. This thing still works perfectly fine. I was old even when I was young. I got to dip for a bit. I'm going to pop back in soon. All right, no problem. Feel free to come back. You got $150. Yeah, like, it's insane. Granted, $150 also changed that also changed in value quite a bit since we were kids. It's not saying these technologies were better, they weren't. But it does make you appreciate a lot of the stuff we have now, and also recognize the downsides of it. Because let's be honest, social media has kind of been a crapshoot. Oh yeah, you had a BlackBerry. Yeah, I know a BlackBerry that had like the little ball in the center of it with the keyboard. Nokia. Not Nokia probably still works. I'd bet my bottom dollar that phone still works. I don't know what they made that shit with, but they need to line up in tanks. Now, granted, I don't know if that's actually true. I know it's kind of a wives' tale. The Snake game. Yeah, I played Brick Breaker was one I really got into. Brick Breaker and Solitaire. And I thought those were cool. Until remember that time when everyone kind of thought like mobile gaming was just gonna be the new thing, and that we were all just gonna have to get rid of our consoles in order to make room for mobile gaming. And even then, I thought that was stupid. And so I like to think I was young enough to recognize this bullshit. But they really tried. It's so very interesting because like all these stories which hold the charge for all week. Yeah, and like the stories that would come out whenever the gaming industry particularly wants you all to shift to a new medium that's cheaper for them to produce. So I remember when like Fortnite really blew up, and like every game was like I don't know if it was Fortnite necessarily, but like all like popular games were online multiplayer games, and there was a bunch of articles saying like, "Is single player dead? Are we all gonna play multiplayer games for the rest of the time?" And then like God of War came out, or one of the Uncharted games, or one of the other amazing story games that came out during like that peak Sony era, and that whole argument fell away pretty quickly. It was also probably like Dark Souls and stuff. I'm willing to bet Dark Souls had a pretty good hand in it, but I can't tell you the exact history of that. And then it was like, microtransactions. They try to make that sound like the future, and they're still pushing hard on that. They tried doing that cryptocurrency, but that flopped hard, so that's thankfully not happening. I know some people are still trying to double down on cryptocurrency as if that's still going to get you somewhere in the world. I know like GameStop recently bought a bunch, even as their shop is basically closing. God of War is like, oh yeah, God of War was an amazing PS4 game. One of my favorite games of all time. You compare that to like even like not even going to NES, like going just even like the PlayStation, and to see how far that's come. It's incredible. But that being said, with the advent of the future, there's plenty of drawbacks too. Like I said before, like social media in particular is a hellscape, and it's caused incredible amount of damage and it corrupted so many people that it does bear wondering if it actually should exist at all. And like we'd probably be better off if social media was a real thing. But we're all here now using social media, so I can't say I'm not part of the problem. I at least try to use it for good. Like I just wrote a thing on a book today that's called "I Breathe the Body," and it's kind of about that. Kratos versus Spawn, who wins? Ooh, that's a good one. Because Kratos has taken on a Titan, but Spawn has killed Satan. So it goes back to who's durable. Hold on. How durable is Spawn? Okay, Spawn's durability is exceptionally high. You can survive attacks that would obliterate entire solar systems, and they possess the ability to regenerate even after being severely damaged. Yeah, Spawn wins. Unless Kratos had some kind of tool to take that ability away. Like, Kratos can still die, even though he doesn't typically stay dead. Spawn sounds like he's overpowered as fuck. Didn't the race become like King of Hell? Wasn't that a story that thing happened recently? I don't know. Are they still making Spawn comics? Actually, I'm curious now. Comics 2025. All right, yeah, damn, Spawn's comics still going. All right, cool, good for them. Hey, Daniel. Yeah, like on strength, I think they can be pretty much on par. But in terms of like who can take a hit the most, Spawn wins by a mile. Because Kratos can still go to hell or whatever hell exists in the realm he's in. Now, granted, he has the tendency to come back, but that's still a process. But if you can withstand attacks that obliterate solar systems, yeah, you win. Oh, there is a King Spawn series. Okay. Do they make Kratos comic books? I don't think so. At least not that I've seen. I can look it up, though. Okay, there is a 6-part series, God of War, for DC Comics, but I'm pretty sure that's not it. Yeah, as far as I can tell, God of War does not have any comic books. Kratos comics. Oh wait, no, I lied. Okay, there was one 6-issue miniseries that was made by DC Comics. I see something that looks like, what is this I'm looking at? There is a book series. I don't think they're comic books, but there's actual books. I think. Hold on. Wait, you know what? I am wrong. These are in fact comic books. So to answer your question, there was an original 6-issue run of God of War for DC Comics, and there was another one called God of War Fallen God, which looks like it takes place more in the Thor and the not Greek Viking stuff. What are they coming with next for that series? I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I am very curious how they are going to do the transition to another culture, because you know that's what they're gonna do. They've said the Viking era is over. Not that all the characters from that are probably gonna go away. Like there's still a lot of open threads from God of War Ragnarok, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And I know that the large speculation that most people are kind of thinking is probably gonna be the case is them going to Egyptian culture, which would be interesting. Yeah, like no, like the new God of War games definitely turned Kratos into an actual. That's not true. That's a little harsh. Turned Kratos into a much more interesting and nuanced character than he was back in the PS2, PS3 era. Because, like, yeah, his motivations did change progressively as the games went on, but a lot of the times he was kind of big, cruel, angry brute, and that was kind of his whole thing. Who was always pissed off at somebody. But the Norse era definitely added a lot to that. And the DLC they made for Ragnarok was also fantastic for that exact reason. That was the opportunity to kind of go back and reevaluate the old franchise, as it were. I remember played most of the games. I wasn't supposed to. I was definitely not old enough to be playing it, but I managed to convince my parents to let me play it when I told them I could turn the blood off. Because they didn't look into it further, and they didn't know there were titties. So I snuck down past you, Mom and Dad. And because titties are perfectly fine, but if you want to, God forbid, like you want to go see a titty, like go ahead, that's fine, but just don't have any blood. Weird requirements. So the question, like, I wonder if they actually will do Egyptian mythology next. They could also do like Colombian, Mayan. Mayan was one of those lists too. Like in the first God of War, you get coins for having sex with the two women at the start of the game. Yeah, no, that was definitely like I feel like God of War came out when like games were starting to be like, ooh, look how edgy we are. Not because we're like go extreme and all that stuff, but we have violence and sex and nudity and yeah, look, we got away with titties in a PS2 game. And God of War was definitely kind of like the epiphany or the trendsetter on that. And the more they kept doing that, the more ridiculous they got. And it just like, looking back at it now, it's just like this is so immature. This is written by a dude with a very teenager version of a manly man. Like he fucks and he fights and he fucks and like women are like, oh my god, you're so good in bed. Oh, your dick is amazing. And then you fight some more. Like there's a big giant serpent. You don't stand a chance against my mighty man. He's gonna stab it with a fucking boat. Like really, when you kind of look at that framework, the first 3 games make sense. Because I remember the God of War 3 where it got like particularly ridiculous, where it was like Aphrodite, I think, who's like the only god you don't kill. Which means she had to live through all that horrific experience that happened after God of War destroyed the world, or at least the Greek world. But it was like them having sex, and then like her handmaidens were watching in the corner, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so jealous of our mistress," and all these things. It's like, oh my god. San Andreas was definitely one I was not allowed to play. I was not allowed to get into any of the GTA games until I was of age. So my first Grand Theft Auto was Grand Theft Auto 5. Was the first one I played, and that's just because I moved out and I didn't really want to tell my parents about it. Or at least my mom. She always had a stronger opinion about it. My dad didn't have strong opinions at the time, or at least if he did, he didn't say anything about it. The one thing he delighted in doing was making fun of whatever I liked. I like picking up hookers in GTA, and that's exactly why my mom wouldn't let me play it. Oh god, that just makes me think of like that era when they were trying to connect video games with real life violence. Like, stop me if you guys heard this one before. If you guys remember him, like this is kind of a deep pull, but does anyone else remember Jack Thompson? Who made a name for himself when the hot coffee mod thing happened, and he used that opportunity to become like the spokesman for video game violence and wanting to ban video games and all that kind of stuff. It was that he used, and yeah, like the hookers and all that stuff. And then they got more ridiculous from there. I remember like Mass Effect, the first one, got in trouble because God forbid, like you saw a bit of cheek when there were sex scenes. And that got a whole story on Fox, which doesn't surprise me. It got on fucking Fox, those prudes. That whole future sex scenes got really shy for a while. Until fairly recently, I think. Actually, honestly, probably with God of War. We kind of go with the idea, it's like, okay, we can still have titties here, guys. Like, like it's okay to have titties. That's when the game started pulling out a bit more, realizing they can get away with it. They're rated M for a reason. Yeah, and that's like the basic argument a lot of us made at the time too, but there was always like, I don't know. It was whatever they can use to get power of the situation. It's the same bullshit, different players. And like historically, if you actually look at the history of all different kinds of mediums, like this happens every time. It happened with books when the printing press became a thing. It happened with newspapers. It happened with comic books. It happened with TV, movies, radio. All those things had some kind of protest that like they were corrupting our future and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, transitioning and improving as a people is historically always done kicking and screaming. People do not want to change. We do not move up with the future. We kind of force them into it. Violence in video games doesn't relate to real life violence. Oh, I'm 100% with you. Don't get me wrong, Aaron. But I still remember all that time when I was also like really pissed off and invested into it. It's actually when I first started learning how to like debate people because I did it for like a political science class, and they made us like pick a topic to debate. And I did violence in video games, and I realized very quickly how annoying people interrupt you are. To my fair, I held my ground. I think exactly what I said was, I'm sorry, in the middle of my sentence to interrupt the beginning of yours. So I think I just lost because I didn't quite know how to handle the random questions that are being fired at me. And some of them are fucking stupid. To the point where I think I just looked at him and like, what? What are you talking about? That was my first lesson in how easily it is to sway the audience, and especially in debate setting. Because it doesn't matter what the facts say. You make them feel that more. And that feeling is what convinces them that the other person won. It doesn't actually matter who's right. It just matters how passionately you can talk about it. I know I'm going on a random tangent right now. I don't know where it's going, but I'm just going to follow the train. If anyone remembers this movie, I'd be kind of surprised because, as far as I know, no one really talks about it. Does anyone remember the movie Thank You for Smoking? All two people here. Sorry, I got distracted by stuff. But in the movie Thank You for Smoking, which had Aaron Eckhart and a kid, I forget his name. But the whole thing is Aaron Eckhart was a spokesperson for Big Tobacco back when the results of like cancer treatments were about like really getting worked up, and it was causing a lot of controversy in court dates and all this kind of stuff. But there's one point, and his job is basically to bullshit people. Yeah, Columbine didn't help with. Yeah, no, Columbine did a lot of fucking damage culturally on top of the actual damage they did and the murders they did. But anyway, but in Thank You for Smoking, I remember there's a sequence where he's trying to explain to his son, kind of what he does and why it's effective, and he basically taught his son gaslighting. Because he says like, oh, sorry, he gives like, okay, say we're in debate, like who has the better ice cream? You pick vanilla. I'm gonna say chocolate. So if you were talking, and you said something to the extent of like, I love vanilla, then I would come back and say like, well, I like chocolate, and I think we should live in a world where we're allowed to pick whatever flavor we want and do well, and like that's the definition of liberty. And then he goes like, well, like that's not true. You haven't convinced me. And he just goes, I'm not looking for you. I'm looking for them. That's again really describe the conservative playbook in a nutshell. Good movie though. It definitely cuts out a lot from the book, which I also read, and the book also gets kind of wacky towards the end, where it turns into like a conspiracy, like a murder conspiracy or something. People being framed and stuff. The point they chose to end it to in the movie makes a lot more sense, honestly. I don't know why, but that movie always stuck with me. Because back in the day, I thought it was so smart. This is back when I lived in a more conservative household, and I always thought it was very interesting until I got older and realized like, oh no, that's just gaslighting. This is just ad hominems and bad faith tactics. He doesn't win debates because he's a good debater. He wins debates because he's an asshole. Weird tangent. Sorry about that. I guess that's what happens when the weed brain takes over. Next thing you know, here we go. Anyway. Oh my god. But yeah, Columbine didn't help the violent video game debate, and then like Bully was a big one that was targeted at the time. I know they really went after Bully. They made GTA San Andreas go to adult only for the game copies that had the hot coffee mod. Even though you had to work through like multiple layers to even get to it and unlock it, they still made it as adult only anyway, which is a rating that is almost never used. Because it means they can't be posted in like stores and stuff. So if there's a secret market for adult-only games, then I don't know what it fucking is. Yeah, like Rockstar has consistently put out good games. I can't talk today. Even LA Noire, which I know like it's kind of rubs some people the wrong way, or is like kind of a mixed reception. I personally love detective noir shit, so I was all on board with it. Even though I do think like some of the technology they were trying to work with and what they were doing didn't quite work as well as maybe they wanted, but it was still interesting. It was a good experiment. The open world just kind of had no point. And like the open world always felt kind of shoehorned to me because there was just nothing to fucking do in it. Like you can go around, you can find little secret missions and stuff, which usually involved a shootout, and find cars, and that was about it. So there was really no incentive to go out and explore the world. And I hated the ending. I thought the ending sucked. Where they did like, the whole story's like being a better detective, looking up for all the clues, learning how to recognize if people are telling the truth or bullshitting you, that kind of stuff. And then, like when they put the explicit content on CDs, it makes kids want that CD even more. Yeah, I know, you make something forbidden, suddenly all the kids are interested in it, right? Reverse psychology. But anyway, like LA Noire, the entire game is about like being a detective and interrogating people, battle of wits, stuff like that. And then the last act, for some bizarre reason, you play an entirely different character and you do a whole shootout in a sewer. And that's kind of the end. And then the main character abruptly dies out of nowhere. And that's the end. I always thought that was bullshit. That's when I always feel like it was a producer note. Yeah, I love like 90% of noir. It's that last 10% that always bummed me out. Then, of course, Red Dead Redemption, which I feel like I spent so much time in. Especially in the multiplayer. I got really into multiplayer. I definitely like farmed certain areas to get more points and all that stuff. I used to spend a lot of time with friends on Red Dead Redemption. That was a good time. We never really found that like spark with Red Dead Redemption 2 online, but that original time, oh god, so much nostalgia for that. Remember there was one time in particular that always stuck with me. We were having fun. It was like three of us. We've been friends for years, and we were just kind of horsing around on the big mountain where the bear is, throwing like sticks of dynamite down the mountain as someone tries to get up, just laughing. And we just kind of sat there and just reminisced for a long time. And I remember that just feeling like a very special moment, even though it was in a video game. And it's stuck with me ever since. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like when you hang out with someone that you just have this deep history with for long enough, and then you kind of go from just goofing around and then just get all just kind of soulful, introspective. Kind of doing what I've been doing tonight, which is like reflect and recognize where you started and where you are. Oh god, back then I was infatuated with someone too, and I remember bringing that up, and I look back and I was like, oh man, I made mistakes. And back then I was so desperate to be loved that I would look for it where it wasn't available and try to create it, which is should not have to be said, a strategy that did not work, and I don't recommend anyone who's single try this because it doesn't go well. It doesn't go your way, and it's not healthy for anyone involved. Now that I've been on both sides of it, I recognize the destructive power of early 20s me. But and then, of course, Grand Theft Auto 5, and then, of course, Red Dead Redemption 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. That is a game where I can legitimately just kind of fall in and just stay in the world for hours. Not even doing the missions. Like, I've spent a lot of time on, like, the fishing segments. Because I liked how the fishing minigame worked. I did not get into hunting because I hated how fucking picky it was. Like, oh, sorry, you didn't hit her with a perfect fucking arrow at the right angle towards his left earlobe. So now you get one little money clip, and that's all you get. Oh, you fucking loser. Never was a big fan of that. But fishing didn't require that. You can just fish it out, and boom, there you go. There's a fish. Fishing for the legendary ones is more fun than you'd think. Throw the line out there, and just put on a podcast. Something you mean to catch up with in a while. I'm feeling really nostalgic tonight. Don't know what's going on there. Arthur Morgan and John Marston, in my opinion, have some of the best character development ever. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, both are incredible characters. I honestly don't know if they'll make another one. Because they like that either it has to be like a sequel finally, or they have to go back even further. And backing up even further just sounds completely redundant at this point. Or you take them from a different perspective altogether. You can also do that. Maybe that's what they will do. But either way, if they decide to go back to that property, I'd be excited to see what they did. That's after they finally release fucking Grand Theft Auto 6, though. Which I know got delayed again, back to 2026. Ooh, I got a fun Red Dead story. One of the mini games I loved in the game was the Texas Hold'em game. And I made two of my friends play with me every time we got on. I like both hunting and fishing Red Dead. Yeah, like my ADHD can't stay focused on the hunting one. I can do the fishing one though, weirdly enough. So I really like the poker mini game, and whenever I have my friends online, I pushed it really heavily, and because I really wanted to play more of it. Unbeknownst to me though, one of my friends there fucking hated it and never said anything, and I didn't find out till years later. And then I kind of remembered why, or at least one of the reasons, was one time we were playing. It was just me and him left, and I was down to the bare bones. I was about to lose, so I just kept going all in on every hand, and I kept winning every hand over and over and over again to the point where I actually won the game. You just kind of like, fuck this. Oh, so every time I want to get a reaction because he's a pretty stoic dude. So every time I was like, hey, you want to play some poker? He's like, nah. I don't know if it's actually funny, but it makes me laugh. That was a good time. That was a good memory. Everyone's getting wistful this week just because of everything that's changing. Things that are beyond my control, you know? Like, someone I lived with for 7 years is going to be gone tomorrow. And I never thought we'd get to that point, and I'd be relieved. Probably in the worst financial state I've ever been in my life. Barely hanging on by a thread and the most stress of my life. And just trying to get through all that has been exhausting, to say the least. So, talk about video games. Talk about old memories. Talk about what games we loved with a passion, the ones that still have a place in our hearts. I know the one I got. I really got into the first Dragon Age game. I played that one multiple times. I was a big Dragon Age fan. I still like them. I like all the Dragon Age games, even the new one. Even though I don't really understood the hate that one got. I think it's just because it was Dragon Age and it had queer people in it. Oh, Bioware's next game is good. I miss them at their peak. I remember they also made like 3 Sonic games that I don't think you can find anywhere anymore. It's like, what other games hold a special place? Let me think about this for me, because this is interesting. I like this. The Crash Bandicoot franchise will always hold a special place for me because that was like the first like 3D games that I was eventually able to play beaten by myself. Even though the first time I played it, I had my dad beat a lot of the bosses because I wasn't very good yet. I think I was like 5. Then years later, just became an expert in my own right. Until I eventually 100% complete both Crash 2 and 3. What's just on my N64, especially the game GoldenEye. GoldenEye. I never had an N64. It was always PlayStation. I had a GameCube though. I didn't really use it all that much. I should have. Kind of wish I did. But anyway, do I still have it? One day I'm gonna take a look. Still got a PS2 in there, and a PS3. They're too dusty. I don't think they're worth anything, but yeah, still got them. GoldenEye was the first game I really loved playing every day. Yeah, I remember I got into the James Bond franchise for a little while in terms of the games. I think I played all the ones that came out on PS2, like Nightfall and Everything or Nothing, which is actually pretty good. I think I was aged pretty well. I don't know how well the first-person ones have aged. I just know I can never tell what was happening in them. I just like playing with the gadgets. And the sex jokes flew completely over my head. Heard they came up with a new one now. I'll be curious to see that. Sorry guys, I'm just feeling kind of wistful tonight. Trying to stay hopeful. There's a lot going on and it's crushing, but I'm trying to think positive, or at the very least, see the other signs that are going well and use that as an indicator that other things will go well too. And then I'll figure it out. Because that's what I always do, I figure it out. But what if I can't, right? I don't know. Anyway, Still got my original Xbox, the Xbox 360, a PS2, and a PS3. I think I gave up my Xbox 360 and a lot of my games. I shouldn't have done that. It's kind of sad I did. I think I still got a PS2 somewhere, though, a PS3. Xbox I kind of came on too late. I didn't think I got an Xbox until like Halo 2 came out, or at least around that era. Although we did have one before that. It was a... oh, God. What am I looking for? It was like a jailbroken Xbox that had a ton of games programmed into it. Basically, any game you can kind of want was on this. You can download new games into it. This is way before, streaming games and downloading games became a thing. You just put the disc in there and they would download to the hard drive and they could use the hard drive. And I think my family gave it away. And to this day, I'm like, God damn it, we should not have done that. Hello, anime. How are you? You watch Tsunami? A little bit here and there. I was never really that big into anime, so it wasn't like frequently plugged into. But I got some memories on Tsunami. Well, you're not talking Tsunami, are you? You're talking Tsunami. Is that a movie? Because I can't say I watch Tsunamis on the regular. The Blue-Eyed Samurai? Yes, I have. Right now, my current most popular video is one of my villain episodes about what the fucker's name is. The Irish dude. Yeah, no, I love Blue-Eyed Samurai. I thought that was really good. Interesting. Oh yeah, no, I think it's excellent. Tsunami. Yeah, I think the only anime I really got into when I was younger was what's what I'm looking for? Pokemon. Really got into the Pokemon craze back then. And then I don't know what happened. I think my dad started making fun of it, and that really kind of shattered the illusion for me, and I got really ashamed for liking it, and I haven't really touched much anime ever since. Except I've seen the Beautiful Joe anime, which wasn't good, and nobody remembers it but me. Do you watch Rick and Morty? I watched the first 3 seasons. I think I kind of stopped watching after that. 4 seasons, I think. It's too mean. I don't like how they write, they make the character flawed but never wrong, and I think that's a problem. Tenchi Mayu. I don't know who that is. Let me see. Oh, I see. Okay, it's an anime thing. Yeah, I would have no way of knowing this character. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those shows that started off really clever and smart, and I think wasn't prepared to take accountability for what it accidentally created. And instead just try to pretend like the toxic fans it accumulated just didn't happen. I think that's kind of irresponsible show, and it kind of tells you where the other priorities are. That was one reason that kind of turned me off from it, and I just didn't like that. Stuff like Pick Up Rick is fun. It's a fun show, but the nihilism, the sense of smart intelligence equals cruelty, and kindness means dumb. I hate that fucking idea. The idea that you can only be intelligent if you're cruel. It just enables bad people to do bad things because, I'm just an arrogant piece of shit. That means I'm a genius. And that's exactly what he did. It was created that phenom, and then those people did some really, Jesus Christ. Does anyone remember the Szechuan sauce incident with McDonald's? What if Tony Stark also had the super soldier serum? He definitely learned some new tricks. I don't know, maybe Tony Hawk would have gone to war. I don't know, that's kind of a funny image. Now, granted, that's all just my opinion on Rick and Morty. That doesn't mean I'm right. It just what bothers me. So keep that in mind. Why did I read that as Tony Hawk? What the fuck is wrong with my brain? What if Tony Stark also had the super soldier serum? He'd probably study it, try to replicate as best he can, use that natural strength and ability to maybe like provide more physical enhancements that aren't require full suits. I kind of doubt he'd go with the shield thing. He'd probably create something else that's a bit more his speed. What would he even use in that circumstance? If not a shield, probably not a sword. Not a gun either. You ever played Tony Hawk games? A little bit. It was never really my thing. I remember playing like the other place I really got to with those skateboard games was the Spyro mini games in Spyro 3. And I think that's about as far as I got. Yeah. Probably have to log off pretty soon. I got a long day tomorrow. Long day. Pretty much busy from the moment I get up to the moment I have to go to sleep. Yeah. I don't like it. Appreciate you guys following me along with my little just flights of fancy this evening or morning. It all just ebbs and flows. What if the old Captain America from the time travel used the Iron Man suit to support his aging body? I feel like there's a story where he did that. I know definitely in versions of like old Cap. But like especially when Captain America himself was just an old person for a little while because he had the super soldier serum drained from him, but he eventually got it back. He was fine. He was a young whippersnapper again. Then he turned into a Nazi. And then he wasn't a Nazi. It was just the other version of Captain America that was also a Nazi. The real Captain America came up and kicked, Stevels, I think was the name they went with, and I love that. Evil Steve, Stevel, brilliant. Comics get weird. There was also a time where Red Skull had the brain of Charles Xavier, and that turned him into like another version of Onslaught. For those who don't know what Onslaught did, he was like an excess of the 90s, I believe, that got so overly convoluted and so ridiculous that they just kind of just didn't mention him again for like a solid decade. Because that's what led to like Franklin Richards making a new universe, keep those like the dying heroes like alive in that capacity, and timey-wimey shit. That must get ridiculous. I love it. Oh my god. What was I doing? Right, I remember now. Oh man. On that note, guys, I think I might call it. I am feeling... The first superhero I liked was Green Lantern. You know what? My first one was Spider-Man, but the one that got me into DC Comics was the Green Lantern, with Jeff Johns' Green Lantern. Michael versus Peter from Deadpool. I could take Peter. Like, I can take him. There you go. Peter's not a fighter. There you go. All right. Yep. I think I'm gonna get off the reel, guys. This is a fun conversation. Thanks for hopping on with me and having this little get around. Silver Surfer was always cool. But anyway, I probably won't be online tomorrow because it's just gonna be a long day. So I'll probably be back on like Tuesday next week. So just keep an eye out. The usual schedule. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.